Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on the globe. Thank you for joining in and welcome to our second session of exciting webinar series in the know with our experts. So let me introduce myself. My name is Orit Katsir. I'm a global product manager at Netafim, and this is our second webinar. And I want to remind you that in our last webinar, we introduced our drip lines, mainly integral drippers. Today, we will focus on online drippers, kits, and drip lines for different field applications. So please, it is time to sit back and get ready for an amazing tour of Netafim best products. I'm glad to reintroduce you our Abed Masarwa. Abed is a VP of Products uh, and is our drip irrigation expert. So Abed will provide insights into drippers, kits, and other Netafim Star products in this live webinar. I want to remind you that at the end of the presentation, we will have time for questions. So please feel free to ask questions via the Q&A tab. You will find it on the top right on the screen. So please write your questions on the Q&A tab, and we will try to answer all of the questions at the end of the live webinar of Abed presentation. So let's get started. Abed, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Orit. Thank you for the introduction, and happy to be here again. Welcome everyone, and let me introduce myself first. So my name is Abed Masarwa, and I'm leading the product team, specifically the drip irrigation product. In our webinar today, we are going to focus on what Orit just mentioned, online emitters, and then after that, we will talk about the kits, and then later at the end of it, we will talk about specialty markets that we are working in, like landscape and mining. So let me share my screen first, and then we will take it from there. Just let me know if all is fine. So you see my screen?
Yes, Abed, we can see your screen. Just move to presenter mode.
Absolutely. And then I will do swap my screen so you'll be able to see the right screen.
Screen, yes.
Here you go.
Go ahead, Abed. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Orit. Again, so we are going to speak today on the online drippers mainly, and then the specialty products that we just mentioned. It's a part two presentation, so for those of you who didn't participate in part one, there are some of the information that probably will be needed to complete, and then if anything will be needed, just please feel free to look at the recording of the previous webinar. So as we are talking today, we are speaking about Netafim drip solution. Our main target in our product is to maximize farm areas and improve quality with minimum resources like water, fertilizers, and energy. In the presentation today, the agenda is that we are doing a short reminder about our portfolio, and then we will speak about what is a PC and a non-PC dripper. Then we will speak about leading stake spiders and end units for irrigation of mainly protected crops, and then we'll speak about digital tools that support this. And then specialty, as we mentioned, landscape and mining, kits, and then summary. So in the previous webinar, we discussed Netafim integral drippers. Today we will explore what we just mentioned just now. So let's begin. If we look at Netafim portfolio of products, it's split into two families. The online drippers, which is the units that you actually punch the tube and add these units on the pipe, and the integral drippers, which is where the emitters are integrated during the extrusion process within the pipe. This family is divided into two: pressure compensated and non-pressure compensated. So in each of these families, we have a family of products that some of them are pressure compensated, some of them are non-pressure compensated. Now let's talk about the details. So what are pressure compensated drippers? Pressure compensated drippers are drippers that are giving a consistent amount of water, no matter what are the heads or the topography or the length of the drip line they are located in. We do have a non-pressure compensated drippers that are actually influenced from the pressure head that you have in the pipe. And we do have what we call online drippers or leading stakes. These are kind of products that we are either inserting of the external side of the pipe or connecting it to a main hub drippers to lead the water towards growing containers, growing bags, or others. A, a non-pressure compensated dripper is a dripper that is influenced from the pressure that you have in the head. So the flow rate that you get out of this dripper is influenced from the pressure you have inside the pipe. The declared flow rate of this non-pressure compensated dripper are always declared at 1 bar. That means if we say this dripper is 1 gallon per hour, or if it's 2 liters per hour, it means a dripper that if you operate it at 1 bar, or in other words, in the US 14 psi. So this is the dripper that is influenced. So if we are operating a dripper that is declared to be a 1 liter per hour at 1 bar, and we are running it at zero point 0.5 bar, this means that the dripper is going to give a different flow rate, which is less. There is a formula that links between the flow rate and the pressure, and all the details you can find it in Netafim technical literature. Netafim PC online drippers, which is part of the portfolio that we are going to focus about it today, is actually divided into three. We have three product families, I would say. We have the PC online drippers, which is located at the top high end of the product for specific application, basically for permanent irrigation like orchards, citrus, digits plantation, or vines. This is a very robust dripper. The dripper was invented in 1984, and since that time until today, it's continue leading the market of the online drippers. High clogging resistant dripper, robust, and give probably the best performance that we have in the market today. If we look at the low end of this, we can see that the PCJ, which is pressure compensated junior dripper, this dripper is dedicated for high-tech greenhouses, nurseries, and protected crops. Normally, when we are working on an environment like protected crops, the head control that feeds the water to the greenhouses is a head control that have a water treatment element inside it. It's either not only filtration, it's either UV disinfection or other type of disinfection. So the reason, and sometimes even reverse osmosis. So the reason that we can use this type of dripper because of the cost effectiveness of it. From one hand, it's a small dripper with a very affordable cost that gives a great performance in high-tech greenhouses. However, we were requested in the recent years to develop a dripper that can actually be in between the two drippers, that will be very close to the PC in terms of performance and very close to the PCJ in terms of cost. So that's the reason that we came to the market with the PCJ Junior dripper. The PCJ Pro is a dripper that is also dedicated for greenhouses, nurseries in challenging water conditions. What does it mean? For example, if you are going to irrigate now your protected crop with a lower water quality and doesn't have a water treatment unit on the head control, then if you want a peace of mind, it's better for you to go for a PCJ Pro. We launched this dripper recently in the market, and we managed to hit both objectives that we put for ourselves. The first one is to be robust and high clogging resistance. From the other hand, to be cost effective like the PCJ. Let's start talking about the details of each one of these. So PC is the first dripper that we mentioned, is an online pressure compensated dripper, have a self-cleaning mechanism, and this dripper is mainly for a permanent application like orchards, ditches plantation, and tree irrigation, greenhouses, and nurseries in very challenging water conditions. The dripper also have three different models: the standard PC, the PCL CNL and the PC high CNL, and I will explain what does it mean each one of these models. So if you are irrigating a tree plantation, or for example, if you are irrigating palm or whatever it is, and you need an online dripper, then you can take the first model over there and you can put it. If you want to irrigate intensive irrigation and you have a pulse irrigation or intensive irrigation scheduling, you don't want your system to empty from water and you want yourself to be able to irrigate intensively. That's what we have also a CNL function. CNL score for compensated non-leakage. Others call it anti-drain mechanism. So we can equip this type of drippers with either a low CNL or high CNL. So what's the difference between low CNL and high CNL? The difference between these two is just shut-off pressure of the system. That means when I'm turning off the valve, letting the system release from water, at what pressure it stopped dripping. So the higher the pressure it stopped dripping, the higher the CNL function. So if you shut off the valve on a high CNL dripper, it will stop dripping before the low CNL dripper. So probably some will ask me, okay, why we are using low CNL if we can use high CNL? High CNL is always better because it stopped dripping at a higher pressure. Yes, it is, but everything there is a cost of it for it, and the high CNL, if we are going to use it, then we are moving our pressure envelope a little bit upwards. So for example, in low CNL pressure, if you are getting into the pressure envelope, that means where exactly the dripper start to be compensated, it will be at a lower pressure. So it depends. If you need it, go for it and use high CNL. If you don't need it, take low CNL. Every time you're adding additional feature to the dripper, you need to ask yourself whether you need it, and if you don't need it, don't do it. So this is about PC. We have a different models of this PC that comes on flat and with nipple. The nipple that you can see on the right top picture is the one that you can connect it to a leading stake, to spiders, to assemblies. And the one on the left, normally it's used for orchards and tree plantation. All you need over there is the ability to just punch and add a dripper. Why people are using online drippers and tree plantation? First, because they want flexibility on the location. And second of that is the issue of drop migration. Normally, if you're using an inline dripper, so probably sometimes you have a drop migration along the pipe. And when you use online dripper, it drips exactly where it needs to drip. We have color coding for this to distinguish between applications. So we have a black and brown. Black goes for agriculture, brown goes for landscape. And we do have color coding for also distinguishing between the different flow rates. So we have a major 3 flow rates that we are using with this dripper. And you can see that we have colors like green, like red, like black. Green goes for 8 liter per hour, and black goes for 4 liter per hour, and red goes for 2 liter per hour drippers. So the dripper that we are talking about it here is made out of 4 parts. You can see in the left picture. So you have the base, you have the membrane, you have the labyrinth, and you have the cap. These are assembled with snap. No welding is here. So it's different from other drippers in the market that are actually welded parts. Here there is no welding. It's all snapped together. And this is a big benefit, because when you weld, normally you damage the plastic that you are welding it, and over here it's a complete snap. That's what gives us also the performance that you are getting it from the market. If we look at what we have in terms of portfolio, so we have flow rates of 2, 4, and 8.5 in also in PC and low CNL and high CNL. Few comments over here I would like to add and mention. PC drippers, which is not the low CNL and high CNL version, as a default in online drippers, because they are pressure compensated. So as a default, there are anti-siphons. So if somebody wants to bury this dripper, it is possible. It will not suck sand from the environment if you stop it. The fact that we are using a membrane and we have a volcano sitting over there allows us to have this function of anti-siphon on this dripper. So another thing that I want to mention over here, that these are the major flow rates that we have: 2, 4, and 8.5. By the way, in high CLA, you can see 3, 6, and 12. It's the same dripper with different membranes, so it's incur a different flow rate. But others, where they do a tree plantation, they probably will require higher flow rates. So we have 24 and 25. In general, these are also available. We always recommend to use two drippers of 12 versus one dripper of 24 because of the distribution of the water on the roots of the tree. So that's the reason that we prefer to divide the water on multiple dripping points versus putting it at one dripping point. If we compare the PC online dripper versus competitors, there's by no doubt that this is a premium product for high-end market. It's by no any mean there is a product that even close to it in terms of performance. It have a big water passage, high turbulence coefficient, and a big filtration area. So that's the PCJ. We mentioned sorry the PC. We mentioned that we have also another dripper in the portfolio, which is called PCJ Pro. PCJ Pro also exists in three different models: the PCJ Standard, which is the anti-siphon version, the PCJ Pro Low CNL, and the PCJ Pro High CNL. Again, the low CNL and the high CNL is exactly what we explained before in the online PC drippers. The low CNL is operating at a lower pressure envelope, but have a lower shutoff pressure. And if you want to have intensive irrigation with high shutoff pressure, very long laterals, or if you've had topography in your area, then better for to use a high CNL. Again, it's a very good dripper in terms of performance, in terms of clogging resistance, and the most important thing, the affordable cost of it. If we want to look at the application that we use the PCJ, so again, as we mentioned, we're talking about protected crops that having a challenging water qualities. So it could be berries, raspberries, blackberries, cannabis. It can be any crop within a greenhouse or nursery that's using organic fertilizers. So it can address the issue of low water quality. We do have this dripper also in multiple models. The first model is nipple outlet, where you actually can connect the leading stakes, elements, and spiders. We have also the barb outlet, which can be connected to a different type of microtube. So the 3 millimeter go to 3x5, and the 4 millimeter go to 4x6. And we have also the Angel outlet. Angel outlet is a new version that we just launched in the market. It's basically addresses the high-tech greenhouses where you are growing with the grow bags, where you have growing gutters. So you have the main drip line in the bottom, and then you take microtube from there to a leading stake that irrigate the grow bags. But in order to be able to shorten the microtube length and not to have influence on the passage that you have in between the growing rows, sometimes you need to use the cranes for picking fruits, etc., etc. So this is something that actually allows us to have a shorter microtube, and that's the reason that we developed this solution. If we look at the portfolio, because we just recently launched this product, we have it in two flow rates, 1.2 and 2 liter. Very soon, we are going to launch in the market the 3 and 4, and later on, we will have all the rest up to 15 liter per hour. Again, when we're looking at the market that we are using this, so it could also address the orchards market where you don't have very challenging water qualities, but you can also address the issue of protected crops with challenging water qualities. The third dripper that we have on this is the PCJ. In the PCJ, we have also all the models that we have mentioned before. In the PCJ standard models, we have it also on barbs and press feed, 3 millimeter and 4 millimeter. Each one of the colors that you see in this picture represent different flow rates. So we have the PCJ standard, we have the PCJ low CNL, and then on the last one, we have also the PCJ high CNL. You can see that also here we have it in different models: barb, 3, 4, and nipple outlet. If we look at also the portfolio of the PCJ, it's also made out of 3 parts welded together. And we just also launched also on the PCJ the option of having it in an angle outlet. So you can have it on 3, 4 millimeter nipple, but you can have it on an angle outlet. We have other models on PCJ that basically goes to a landscape market, but not only. The first one is the self-piercing, the one that have a green tip in the bottom of it. In many of the residential landscape where you don't need to have a tool inside the box that you're selling for home uses, then in order to avoid people cutting the tube by a knife or by a needle that is not fitted to the barb size, and you result in leakages. So we developed this dripper with a self-pressing option where you actually can push the dripper directly into the tube, and this green tip that we have in the bottom of the pipe actually punch the pipe and allows you to insert the dripper inside the pipe. We did develop also the inline option. This is basically for small landscape like balcony irrigation, where you actually bring the microtube near every pot you need to irrigate and then continue from there to the next one and the next one and the next one. So this is also an option that is existing in landscape. The third one that you see is the one that have this cap sitting on it. We call it the anti-ant cap. And the main reason that we developed this is that in many installation, we started to see that insects loves to go into the dripper, start chewing the membrane that we have, and that created a lot of problems for our products. In order to be able to avoid this, we developed this cap that will sit at the outlet of the dripper, avoiding insects or others to penetrate into the dripper and create, holes, punches, or whatever it is. The We have a huge portfolio on PCJ, and the competition on this market is huge. But the biggest thing that PCJ is bringing into the market is robustness, is decades of I would say experience in the market. This dripper had been existing for many years in the company, and it's affordable in terms of cost, great in terms of performance, and it's probably the best dripper in this market for the high-tech greenhouses. And that's the reason that every single greenhouse today that you see in the market that is high-tech greenhouses is utilizing PCJ as a dripper. We have a huge portfolio going from zero point 0.5 liter per hour, 1.2, 3, 4, 8, 12, and 15. And we do have it also here, again, as I said before, a PCJ in low CNL and in high CNL version. So why Netafim PC drippers and not others? Because of all the benefit that we have mentioned in the previous webinar, it also applies for here. The filtration area of Netafim online drippers, by the way, all the existing online drippers in the market doesn't have filter. We do have filters in the inlet of the online drippers. This gives us a huge advantage in circular organ resistance, the flow path size, and the flushing mechanism that we have embedded as part of the system functionality. All of these that I mentioned give us improved organ resistance and assure a better uniformity and higher yields. This gives us also the ability to see that we are reliable and can supply consistent quality of the product. In the end of the day, the bottom line for the grower, it's less maintenance cost, and more importantly, he make more profit. So that was about Netafim online PC drippers, and now we will start talking about Netafim non-PC online drippers. Again, as we mentioned before, non-PC are drippers that are influenced from the pressure. So if there is a different pressure at the head, you will see different flow rate. In this dripper, we have it also.
Abed,
Yes.
just before you start the next session, I want to remind everyone that we have the Q&A tab. So please, just a reminder to write your questions on the Q&A, and you can continue to the non-PC online drippers, Abed. Thank you.
On the non-PC drip line, we have here again drippers that are mainly goes for the I would say mainly goes for landscape market, but not only. These drippers also existing on flat, on barb, under the nipple outlet. We do have them in 4 different flow rates: 2, 3, 4, and 8 liters per hour. And we do have them also in an option that it's have a self-step that you can actually, instead of pushing barb into the microtube, just screwing the barb into the microtube. So these are all an existing option for these drippers. It's also a very mature dripper that we have it for so many years. Again, remember, it's non-pressure compensated in landscape application where you don't have a huge field and the topography is not there and the length of lateral is not there. This is a very good dripper that can address this type. So probably some people will ask me, okay, why we need it if we have the pressure compensated? I agree, but when you're using a pressure compensated dripper, sometimes it comes with other things. And here, this dripper, in terms of performance and cost effectiveness and features that it has, not always you can get it on the pressure compensated dripper. Another dripper that we are talking about it for pot irrigation is what we call cabinet. It's an inline dripper that we have it. It's have a specific leading stake. It is a dripper that is dedicated, I would say, for a compact, low-cost application. For example, if you look for high accuracy or intensive irrigation, for example, if you have a nursery of trees and the plants are not planted on pots and planted on the soil, and it's a nursery, and then you want to start irrigating it, and you want a drip pen with a leading stake. So in this case, the cabinet is great, affordable cost, much lower in cost than taking a hub dripper connected to a leading stake. That's the reason that it addresses this type of market. And beyond this, we have all types of leading stakes, either with labyrinth or without labyrinth, straight, angle, short, long, with plug, without plug. All of these are available options of leading stakes that can be connected to microtubes, that can be connected to a growing container, and for irrigation store growing container. If you are talking about growing bags, if we're talking about pots, if we're talking about grow containers, all of them are possible to be irrigated by this one. On top of all what I've mentioned until now, there are other singular emitters in our portfolio. And these singular emitters are connected normally as assemblies. Okay, so what you see in the picture is a hub dripper, either could be PC, PCJ Pro, or PC or PCJ. All of these options are available. They can be connected to a manifold. It can be one outlet, two outlets, four outlets, and even sometimes you can do 8 outlets. Like if you assemble this brown one top of each other, you can get 8 outlets from one dripper. This goes into a spider microtube, and from there it can irrigate the pots. Very important thing that I want you to understand over here, there is a lot of technical issues you need to be aware of when you're using assemblies like this, okay? There is a flow rate of the hub dripper, the flow rate of the end unit, like the arrow dripper, the length of the microtube, the height that it's installed on. So these are all issues that we need to make sure. I will give you a quick guideline about how to use it. When you are using a hub dripper on assemblies, the outlet of the dripping point is a pressure that is not the atmospheric pressure. Because if you look at the green dripper, that is the hub dripper over here, it's connected to a manifold, and the manifold is connected to microtube, and the microtube is connected to end point dripper. This creates a back pressure on the green dripper over here. So the differential pressure between the inlet and the outlet is not the differential pressure that is between the inlet and the atmospheric pressure. It's different. It means if we want to irrigate properly, we need to take that into consideration and to consider what is the right pressure that I need to run the system at. Other issues that you need to consider is the length of the microtube. We must be at an equal length of microtube, not to get in the situation that one point is irrigating different from the other point. We need to make sure that all of them are the same height. And these are all very important criteria you need to take into consideration. There is a design criteria for assemblies, TikTok that we already prepared, and you're invited to review it if you need to be able to understand what is the right way of doing assemblies for online drippers. Another product that we launched in the market is the Netbo. Netbo is a multi-outlet dripping arc with a very high clogging resistance. We have two models of it. The first model is the 10 inches, which is 250 millimeter. It has 8 dripping points. And the second one is 120 millimeter, which is 5 inches that have a 4 dripping point. This is a very unique product that we developed for growing containers, for basically for pots, mainly for blueberries and cannabis applications, where you actually can irrigate like a piston irrigation. You don't want to irrigate through a one point. You want to irrigate uniformly on the top of the pot, and you know to have the piston effect of irrigating from top to bottom instead of putting it through a leading stake, and then you can create probably a oversaturation area within the substrate and another area that at the even welting. So we want to create a higher uniformity of irrigation. In order to be able to do that, we need to spread at more dripping point, and we need to make sure that we are on the top side of the soil, not on the middle side of the soil, and that's what guarantees piston irrigation that we are having. It is the first real innovation in pot irrigation and help growers to maximize their yield. The last one in online dripper that we are talking about it today is the PCJ high flow bubblers. The reason that you can see that the deflector, or what we call cap, that sits at the outlet of the PCJ on high flow rate is that when you're operating online dripper at very high flow rate, when I'm talking about high flow rate, I'm talking about flow rates that are above 12 liter per hour or above 15 liter per hour, you start to see a stream of water coming from the dripper and not dripping. That's the reason that even the international standard for drip say it's up to 25 liter per hour, and more than that, it's not considered even to be an emitting unit. Here, in order to be able to stop the stream from going out, because from one hand, you want high flow rate because you're irrigating tree irrigation. From the other hand, you don't want it to stream, you want it to drip. So in order to be able to resolve that, that's what we added. We added the deflector, and it actually break the stream that goes out from the dripper and create a localized irrigation as needed from this dripper. Another dripper that we use it in an online application is the micro drip. Micro drip is a dripper that we develop it for the use in landscape application, but also in agriculture, like family drip system, where you actually can connect the drip line directly to the main line and the tank. And over there, you can irrigate, on based on gravity irrigation. However, in many cases, people want to create a dripping arc and not to go to network because probably they will need more dripper. They need to do more circles. So it's an option to take this inline dripper and use it as a leading stake, and then you can distribute uniformly the water and the nutrients on the top of the irrigation pot. The specification of this microtube is it's 6 by 8, 6 internal diameter, 8 external diameter. It's good for, as I mentioned before, for landscape application, but it's also good for family drip system where you actually can irrigate gravity irrigation from tank. So if we are summarizing what I mentioned until now, so we have a lot of technical literature in our website where you can go over it one by one, and you can see that we do have all the technical information needed for you, and you can check it. And if you don't find it, please feel free to contact us, the product team here, and we will happily support you. Digital tools. As I mentioned in my previous presentation, HydroCalc is probably the industry leader in terms of hydraulic calculation. This is a bunch of calculators we have. It's a free of charge software that you can download it and you can use it to design your irrigation system. It have the ability to do pressure losses, flow variation, maximum pipes on inline dripper, but also on online drippers. That's the reason that we are mentioning it also on online drippers, not only on the inline drippers. So that was on that. And now I'm going to move to speak with you about specialty markets, specialty segments. So landscape is the first one. In landscape, we have a specialty product that are made specifically for this market. You can see the colors over here of the drip line are not always black. Basically, brown is the standard color that we are using for drip irrigation. This color is also split into two. It can be dark brown and standard brown. And we have the purple color, which actually this is the market of the reused water. And if we look over here, we have a huge portfolio, the Unitech line, which is utilizing a Uniram dripper. It can come in anti-siphon. It can come with anti-siphon with XR. It can come with a CV function. CV is exactly a CNL, but in landscape, instead of CNL, we call it CV for check valve. So we have it on CV and we have it on CV XR. XR, if you remember from the previous presentation, it's extra root intrusion. It means it utilizes copper oxide within the dripper cover to be able to prevent roots from penetrating into the drip line. Also here, you can see that we also have the option of having XRS, which means XR stripe. This is for preventing root strangulation. Looking at the colors, as I mentioned before, so brown is very common color, but purple is a color that is demanded for us from time to time. The main reason for this is using brackish or reuse water, and for this, the standard, the international standard, advice is that we use a purple color instead of using a brown color or black color drip lines. The main reason for that is they want to protect people to come at the end of the drip line and open it and drink from it, because it's not treated water that is at drinkable level. So that's and you remember that we talked also about online drippers. So online drippers is also an option, and you can buy these online drippers either pre-assembled or singular. And also here we do have a comprehensive literature of products that you can download in Netafim landscape catalog. Netafim landscape catalog includes all the details about all the products that are dedicated for landscape application. If I'm moving to the next one, the next one is mining. This is also a specialty market that we are addressing it, and for this market we have 3 different products. We call these products leach line, leach from heap leaching, and the main idea in mining and heap leaching is actually to irrigate what we call to irrigate the pads. How do we irrigate pads? So pads are built in the mine on top of a liner, and we use a solution that we irrigate through the pad, and during the irrigation process, the solution extracts mineral from the pad, and it goes down into the liner. From the liner, we collect it, and from the collection point, the pond, we take all the metals out, and then we take the solution that is left back into process, use it again and again and again. Because of this cyclic issue, when you're irrigating agriculture, the water is always the first time that you see the dripper. Here, the same solution, see the dripper multiple times. So you need here a very high clogging resistance dripper. You need a very robust dripper. And that's the reason that we took this, I would say, premium products in Netafim, and we created this portfolio of leach line. Leach line U goes for Uniram, leach line D goes for DripNet, leach line X goes for Tiran, and leach line A goes for Arias. You can see that we branded this product with 2 white stripes versus the orange stripes that we normally have in our integral drip lines. And this is actually mentions that these are dedicated product for the mining market. What we have on this family of products is also the mine clip, because on the top of the dam we have ups and downs, and then you can see that probably you can see a lot of drop migration happening on the top of the dam. So the clips, or what we call drop migration preventer, that we have on the drip line that can be pre-assembled from the factory that you have over here, you can irrigate and the water go from the drip line and will be stopped by this drop migration stopper that you have on this. Again, you can order it pre-assembled at the factory. Also here, we have a lot of technical sheets and data sheets that you can use and see, and to understand what is existing, what is not existing, and understand what is the portfolio. By the way, in the mining products catalog, you don't only see the drip lines or the emitting units, you can see also all the other products related to that market, either if we're talking about sprinklers, if we're talking about valves, if we're talking about water meters, and accessories that are dedicated for this mining market. The last thing that I would like to speak about it today is the Netafim kits. What are Netafim kits? And Netafim kits are all you need in one box. It's what we call the IKEA kits, okay? So these are boxes that contains inside it a bill of material, and this bill of material is actually consists all the part that is needed to build a complete irrigation system. In one catalog number, you can get all the part that is needed to build a full complete system. You can see on the left picture box that when you open it, you can find the drip lines, you can find the valves, you can find the filters, you can find the fittings, you can see anything. This family of kits is divided into two, divided into the FDS, which is family drip system, and divided into drip care, which is drip kits, okay? The family drip system, we are talking about smallhold farmers that are using mainly gravity to irrigate. All of this family of drip irrigation is equipped with a micro drip, small diameter, 8 millimeter. But we have also another family for a larger scale kits. For this, we can go up to 4 hectares. And in this case, where we go for this large scale, then we are actually not creating a box. We are creating more on a pallet that you have all the equipment needed to install a drip irrigation system. And the FDS family and the drip kits family, we have manuals that explain step by step how to include every part and how to use every part and how to assemble every part in the drip irrigation system. So you can see also manuals that explain the process. You can see drawings that explain to you how the system structure is built. Some pictures from family drip system from all over the world. Another system that we have is the drip kits. Drip kits, it's a larger than the family drip system. Also here we have a full accessories list and all the equipment needed to build a drip irrigation system. Again, it's a larger scale, so we are talking here in some cases even up to 5 hectares. If we are talking about orchards, it could be 4 hectares on open fields and also vegetables and others. So we do have this kit for smallhold farmers or mid-sized farmers that can use it and without taking the burden of doing a drip design, looking at for the parts, and some parts are missing and how we are going to do it. So you order one SKU and you get all what you need in one box. These are some pictures from installations all over the world of the kits. You can see that the system consists the filter, the valve, the sub-main line, and all the drip lines needed for this. So to summarize what I said until now, so Netafim has a comprehensive portfolio of products that addresses applications such as agriculture, but not only, also landscape and mining. It addresses all the customer needs. And I'm sure that probably there are questions about what we had presented today. And if there are questions, we'll be happy to support you and give you answer. So contact us through the email that is mentioned over here, productsolution@netafim.org.com. And we will be more than happy to assist you with any question that you need about what I presented today, or even in the previous webinar, or even about anything that you would like to know about Netafim. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hearing us. And I would give this last 10 minutes that or even a little bit more, for Q&As.
So Abed, once again, thank you very much for your great presentation. It was very good. Thank you for all the information that you shared with us. And now we have time for the questions that we had in the Q&A. So the first question is regarding the filtration grade. And the question is, what is a filtration grade that it is required for the PC or the PCJ drippers?
So we don't, it is always something that we take into consideration when we design any dripper in Netafim. So all the drip lines in Netafim needs 120 microns filters. That's what we use, and 120 meshes, same. It's actually 120 meshes, 130 microns, but in any way, it's almost the same. So we are talking about the same grade of filtration needed for the inline and the online drippers. The main reason for that, what determines the grade of the filtration is the filter slots that we have integrally inside the dripper. So our dripper are designed to match this. So there is no difference between inline, online, and there is no difference within the inline drippers between the different drippers about the filtration requirements is needed. So again, it's 120 meshes, 130 microns.
Okay, thank you for that. And another question, I think it is coming from someone that was participating in your part one in the previous webinar, and he is asking, is the model of the DQ model is also relevant for the online drippers as well?
Absolutely, there is no difference. The model that we build is an engineering model that is not, looking at if it's online or inline, if it's a Netafim Dripper or others. Okay, the model takes into consideration, if you remember, a few parts. One of them, the turbulence coefficient, which consists inside it water passes and sizes, length, depth, and others. And the other one is the effective filtration area. Combining these two together gives you the D quality. Okay. Again, here you take the dripper quality of the online dripper, the filtration area, the turbulence coefficient, and you get the DQ, and you can compare with others. The time is limited today, so we didn't do all this comparison versus all the competitors that are existing in the market. But yes, anyone that needs, we can provide any information needed about it, and we can show you the differences between the drippers, and utilizing the DQ model also on online drippers is possible.
Okay, thank you. And the next question, I guess, is coming from Central America, because this person talked about a tropical area, and he said, in our tropical area, that we have 4 months of rain, so this is the wet season. And he asked if during this wet season, do we need to retrieve the drip lines pipe in order to avoid mud penetration into the pipe?
So it depends if the installation is on surface or subsurface. I guess that we are talking about on surface installation. So if you remember, I mentioned that by nature, the online drippers, the pressure compensated type of it comes with an anti-siphon mechanism. It prevents sucking external contaminants into the dripper. Okay. Now, when you're talking about a non-anti-siphon dripper that's sitting under the soil, and you start having a heavy rain, then your drip line becomes like a drainage system. Then you might get into troubles of clogging your dripper from the outside, not from the inside. Here, most of the applications are on the surface, and you have the anti-siphon function, because I guess most probably you're talking about a pressure compensated dripper. So it's having the anti-siphon mechanism and doesn't allow dirt to go inside. So nothing needed to be done. You don't need to retrieve the drip line in the end of the season just because of rain.
Okay, and thank you for that. And another question that repeats itself was regarding the online dripper. So the question is, can we order a pipe with already assembled the drippers, online dripper on the pipe? And the question also is referring to the spacing between the drippers on the pipe.
Okay, good question. So yes, we do have in our portfolio pre-assembled product. It means that you can have the hub dripper already installed in the PE pipe, but not only, you can have also the spider installed on the hub dripper installed on the PE pipe. So you can get the full assembly already pre-assembled from the factory. It's a lot of benefits. When you are ordering this thing, then you got the commitment of Netafim about the performance of all the parts connected together. Because once you start, for example, specifically if you have a high CNL system or intensive irrigation, and you punch the pipe manually by yourself, you get the risk of leakages from this, punching. So if you get everything ready to go from Netafim, then you get the guarantee that the product is going to perform without any problem. Now, yes, you can configure anything, and you can configure any spacing. So by the way, the spacing doesn't need to be a uniform spacing. The spacing can be also skip spacing, which means it can be a cluster of drippers, and then another cluster of drippers, another cluster of drippers. You define the number of drippers you want within the cluster, the spacing within the cluster, and jump in between them. So if, for example, I have a 3 drippers at 10 centimeter distance, and then I jump for another cluster of 3 drippers with 3 different drippers. So yes, it's possible. You can configure that. You can go to Netafim product config.netafim.com, and you can go to spiders over there. You can configure any assembly that you need, or pre-assembled pipe, and you can get what you need. And if you don't find it, contact us at the email that I've just mentioned in my end of my presentation, and we will be happy to support you.
Thank you for that, Abed. Another question that we have is regarding the delivery time of an order from from the time that the customer make an order until it is delivered to the customer. Do you want to refer to that?
Yes, it's a vague question a little bit because Netafim is a B2B company. We are working through dealers globally. So if the dealer will have the availability of the products in his warehouse, probably it will be a short time of supply. And if not, then it will take a little bit longer. However, we are here to support. So if there is a little bit constraint on this issue and you see difficulties of getting Netafim products, please contact us. We will link you with the right subsidiary in your country and in your area, and then we can push that you get the product as soon as you need it.
Okay, and another question is regarding the drip kits. And the question is if we buy a large quantity of kits, can we get some kind of a discount in price? Is it a better pricing? This is
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's similar to what I mentioned to you before. Depends which country you're from and who is your subsidiary. And Netafim have a business units almost on all over the globe. And if you are able to contact them directly, that would be great. If you want our help to link you with them, we will be more than happy also to link you with them. And then we will be happy also to support you with this. So for sure, the larger quantity, bigger the discount is, but this is something that is managed by our dealers globally, and they are actually controlling their prices and their costs. So, but if you are not happy, we are always here to support and talk to the dealers and talk to subsidiaries and the business unit to help you with this.
Yes, and I think that this is the time to remind everyone that we have many business units all over the world with the factory plants all over the world, and of course, the customers or the farmers, growers can contact the local representative of Netafim and get all the information and all the products and all the technical information and also agronomical information regarding how to use the product and things like that. So this is very important to remind that. Let me see if we have more questions on the Q&A. There is someone here that say, I love your product, especially the Typhoon. I'm looking forward to order it. So this is one. I don't know where he is on the world, but if from the USA, so we have the Netafim USA representative, a big company that we can provide you all the information and everything. So this is another thing. Abed, there is another question that repeats itself. I want to go back to the online dripper, and it is referring to the shut-off pressure and why is it so important, and what it is the advantage of it.
Okay, so we mentioned that the CNL drippers are drippers that were developed to be able to address the intensive irrigation scheduling needed in protected crops, especially for substrate. Okay, when you're irrigating substrate, not like you're irrigating a soil, you cannot irrigate for elongated hours. Then you will end up with putting too much drainage versus you want to irrigate the plant itself. In order to be able to address that, there are two options. Normally, people are reducing the flow rate. Others are just giving the water in different pulses. So what does it mean, pulses? Depends on high-tech greenhouses. You can reach almost 200 pulses per day. And then, in the standard irrigations, intensive irrigation, you are giving 7 probably to 11 pulses per day. So this is the range between 7 to 200. Depends of the complexity and the accuracy you're requesting from your system when you're irrigating your substrate. Now, in order to be able to give this short time of irrigation, okay, You cannot allow yourself every time you're opening the valve to start filling the main lines, filling the sub main lines, and filling the drip lines. Then you waste your time until the irrigation is finished. You didn't even reach the last emitter unit. So in order to be able to work in this type of environment, you need to have the system always full with water. Others call this anti-drainage. We call it compensated non-leakage. Okay, so the shutoff pressure determines the pressure that the system stop emitting. Okay, so if I'm connecting a transparent pipe to the end of the drip line, I'm closing the valve, then you will see the water column in this transparent drip line goes down, and stops. This height of the water in the column determines the shutoff pressure that you have in the drip line, and it determines how much I can keep on the pressure of the system without dripping it from the emitting unit.
And another question is regarding, I guess it is coming from the north of the US or from Canada, because it talks about freezing temperature, and can these online drippers can remain buried inside under the ground and survive freezing conditions, or do we need to drain the lines before the freezing time?
Oh, good question. First of all, burying helps in freezing. Okay, burying actually protects. So sometimes, if you want to protect your irrigation system, no matter it's online dripper or any other of drip line, so burying it below the freezing point is great. Now, I don't guess that we are talking about this. Nobody bury online dripper 2 meters below the soil to protect it from freezing. So we're talking about burying probably for a few centimeters below the surface of the soil. Now, as I mentioned before, the default of PC, again, PC, I'm not talking about non-PC. Non-PC is risky to bury. But a PC online dripper, you can bury because by nature it comes with the anti-siphon function. So it doesn't extract contaminants from the environment when you shut off. The vacuum created is stopped by the membrane and it's not sucking dirt from the outside to the dripper itself. So there is no risk of doing this. And that's the reason that I think, okay, now back to the question of what freezing can do for the drippers. All Netafim drippers, online drippers, were tested at very low temperature, below zero. Okay, a very important point here you need to consider if you are working with an intensive irrigation CNL drippers. You don't want the dripper to be full, because once it's freezing, it's going to be expanded and it might crack the dripper. This is something that you would like to avoid. So it's important, if you are working in a freezing condition, to drain your system from that. But again, intensive irrigation is normally inside greenhouses. Inside greenhouses, the temperature will never reach very low temperature if there is a crop inside it. So that's the reason that it's unlikely to happen.
Last questions that we have. It is coming from Zimbabwe, and this person asked if Netafim can design the full project, make the design of the full project, not just to buy the drip lines or the drippers. So this is one question, and another question that comes from there is what is the estimated lifespan of our products, of let's say the drip kit or other products?
Very good. Okay, so the first question is about providing a design service. Yes, for sure. This is the nature of our company. We are not a company that sells only product. We sell solutions, and when we sell solution, we accompany our customer from the pre-sale until after sale support. So it's not only selling products. We are selling the service. Design is part of the thing that we are actually providing, and all of our dealers, but not only our dealers, our subsidiaries and business units, we have a global design center that can support all this, and we help on design, yes, from A to Z, from the pump station, even the bulk water supply system. We do design for this until the last emitting units in your field, including the fittings, etc., etc. Yes, for sure, we do design. This is our expertise. This is what we are good at, and that's the reason that we are providing a full solution, including design. So yes, if the question about design, yes. And if you have any specific question on design or support for any project that you will need, please contact us through the email that I just mentioned during the end of the presentation. and we will be happy to link you with the right people in your country that will support you with the design. So that's about the design. And what was the second question, Orit? I think it was about
regarding the lifespan.
lifespan. So lifespan depends on the product. Different products have different lifespan. There is two different issues I want to relate to. There is a warranty and there is the expected life cycle of the product. Okay, so we give warranty on our product based on multiple factors from the day of producing this dripper until the last day of using it. But there is an expected life cycle. For example, if I'm giving you a 5 years warranty on a Uniram, it doesn't mean that after 5 years you need to throw Uniram. Uniram are drip lines that are stay more than 15 years in the field, and in many cases, depends on the water quality, can stay even more than this in the field. So this is the expected life cycle of the product. But in terms of warranty, we give a warranty because we are committed to many factors that we take into consideration. But these are the kind of advices we give for people. If you are using a permanent irrigation where you're expecting your system to be 20 years and above, then your expected life cycle of the product need to be 20 years and above. And yes, we do have this number for each product that we have in the family.
Okay, thank you, Abed, and thank you very much for this webinar. Thank you for all the attendants, all the people that attended in this webinar. Thank you for your attention. Don't miss our next webinar. So check your emails for the next webinar and sign up and register. And thank you very much. Have a good day, have a good evening, and goodbye.